Welcome to Middle Ages News. My name is Gregory, and I will be your host on today's show. Today, we have an interesting show planned for you. We are going to interview the one man who is responsible for the Reformation in Europe. Please welcome to the video, Mr. Martin Luther. Welcome to today's show, Martin. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Gregory. It's a pleasure.
Good. First order of business. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get introduced to the Roman Catholic Church?
I was born in Eisleben, Holy Roman Empire, in 1483. I became a monk. It all started off when I was in the middle of a horrible lightning storm. I thought God was angry with me, so I wanted to be a lawyer, but I don't think God would let me. So I was in the storm, and lightning was shooting down at me. I didn't want to die, and I thought I could only be saved by God. So I vowed that I would give up my dreams of being a lawyer and instead become a monk.
Where did he go? He just disappeared.
Sorry, I had to readjust my robe.
Okay, so anyway, we were at the part where you had to choose between being a lawyer and being a monk. So, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Okay. I wanted to be a lawyer all my life. There was also this one time when I practiced being a monk and showed it in front of my dad and some of his relatives. And I just embarrassed myself in front of them. My dad was disappointed and just left without a word. He didn't come back.
Anyway, next question. When did you realize that the Roman Catholic Church was not an accurate representation of God, and what was happening when you arrived in Rome?
When I arrived in Rome, there were lots of bad things happening. People were selling false salvation through indulgences, just so that they could raise money. The Catholic Church was doing the most. There was poverty, slavery, and people praying and climbing up the stairs of the church. There was also John the Baptist's skull in a box. Worst of all, there was abuse and cruelty. That's why I made fun of the Catholic Church and was sarcastic about it. They were doing unholy things. In fact, back when I was studying theology at the University of Wittenberg, I questioned and challenged my professor's teachings. He said that there is no salvation outside the Catholic Church. However, I felt that the Catholic Church was very corrupt and wasn't truly Christian.
You were one of the first people to rebel against the Catholic Church. What gave you the motivation to rebel when nobody else was doing it?
Other people thought that if they tried to rebel, they would either get excommunicated or arrested or couldn't go to heaven. It didn't matter to me because I knew that the grace of God was on my side. I was disappointed, astonished, and shocked at what the Catholic Church was doing to people. It was all very dangerous, and the consequences of opposing them didn't matter to me. I felt God was worthy of passing the judgment on my decision.
And nobody else?
No one else.
All right, now, last question before the break. Why did you refuse to take back your statements, writings, and teachings against the church at the Diet of Worms?
I do not trust the Pope or the clergy, since it's well known that they contradicted themselves. I am bound by the scriptures, and my conscience is captive to the word of God. I cannot and will not revoke anything, since it's neither safe nor right to go against my conscience.
All right, that's all we have for today, and we will be right back after the break. Thank you. And welcome back. I'm here with Martin Luther, and I'm interviewing him on all of the things he's done in his life. Now, Martin, we know that what you did caused a really great rift in Christianity after the Great Schism, and what basically happened after you was Christianity divided from just Catholicism to Catholicism and Protestantism. And that is a really big division. So, did you have any idea that your actions would revolutionize Christianity as a whole?
I never had any idea about the consequences of my actions, and I did not do the things I did to change the course of history. I simply did what I believed was right at that time.
Oh, that's a very good outlook. How did you feel when you were excommunicated from the Roman Catholic Church?
I was not surprised and was prepared for my fate. I had to go into hiding at the Wartburg Castle in Eisenach. There, I had time to translate the New Testament from Greek to German in 1522. I wrote to the Archbishop Albrecht so he would stop his bishops from selling indulgences. I secretly returned to Wittenberg and started organizing my own church. Peasants didn't like it and tried to revolt, but they got killed.
They got killed?
Yes, they got killed, unfortunately.
You were the first person to start a revolution against the Catholic Church in Europe. After you, we've seen many others such as John Calvin, Hildrich Zwingli, King Henry VIII, and others. What were some of the social, political, and economic effects of yours and other Protestants' efforts during the Reformation?
I received the news that Charles V and his armies had battled some Protestants. In my hometown and other German states, when kings and rulers like Henry VIII during the 1500s, Elizabeth I during the 1560s, and other rulers that time decided to become Protestant. They no longer owed money to the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church lost power. Social effects of my actions are that the Pope didn't have any power over any of my churches, and people stopped buying indulgences, and more people started to become my followers and follow my religion. Social effects of others is that some left the Catholic Church. Also, the Pope only had power over the Catholic Church. Also, as you know, the Protestants started their own churches. Economic effects of every Protestant actions were that the church was no longer in charge of the taxes. I soon found out that my actions affected many lives greatly.
Thank you, Martin Luther, and that's all the time we have for today. I hope to join you next week when we interview King Henry VIII, the man with many wives. Thank you. Goodbye.
The end. Yeah! My dad was disappointed and just left without a word. He never came back.
Oh, God. That's...
Sorry, but let's do a retake.
No, we don't have to. We can just cut this part.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Alright. Let's go.
Alright.
I swear I won't laugh this time.
Oh, God. That's really morbid. When did you realize that the Roman Catholic Church... Alright. You know what? Let's stop right now and see what we...
My dad was disappointed. Sorry.
Alright.
Let's do that. I received the news that Charles IV and his armies have battled some Protestants.
Charles V.
I received the news that Charles V and his armies have battled some Protestants. In my hometown and other German states, when kings and other rulers like Henry VIII I received the news that Charles V I received the news that like Henry VIII
It's okay. We'll cut it out. Ready?
Okay.
Say it like Henry VIII. Okay. Ready? Set. Go.
When other rulers like sorry. Let's read.
Say it like Henry VIII.
All right.
Ready? Set. Go. I hope to join you next week when we have an